the cul-de-sacs are always going to be fire, right? When you have it, when it's back into like something desirable, like a lake, always a plus. Makes it easy to sell. It usually sells for a premium, right? But really, what it is, I love buying properties that are in the median income areas, right? I'm not trying to buy the most expensive property. I also want to buy the cheapest property. I like to be right in the median income areas because the vast majority of people can afford it, right? And when you want to sell it, it goes like that, right? Because you have a bigger buyer pool. So and when I'm teaching my mentees, one of the biggest things I teach them, I'll give game to all your audience right now, is you only want properties that work for multiple exit strategies. If you want to do a $2 million house, you want to build it, sell it, whatever, right? You only can make money by selling it because it never covers itself as a rental. If you buy the cheapest house in the block, it's going to be in a rough neighborhood. It's going to be hard to sell it. But when you in that family neighborhood, it's that median price point. A lot of people can afford it. The working class can afford it. It'll sell. It'll also be a great rental. So if for some reason the market's not doing well, or you got to pivot and you got to hold it, guess what? You can still cash flow every month. I'm perfectly fine making $500 a month on a house, right? If I keep it as a rental or pop it and making $25,000 if it's a flip. So if it works for both, I'm gonna say yes on that deal all day, every day, twice on Sunday. That's what I tell my mentees.
That's real. So we got another comment from Shay. She said, I'm 23. I inherited my grandmother's property with over $500K in equity, and right now I'm in process of applying for HELOC, right? Yeah. Most definitely be connecting you, Siam, for guidance.
For sure.
So like just off of that, like she didn't give it a lot of context, right? So she's 23, property over 500K in equities, in the process of applying for HELOC. What are some next best things that she should be thinking of?
Yeah, first of all, she needs to run a HELOC on it so she doesn't have to pay taxes, right, when she sells it. If you refinance, you don't pay taxes on the money you pull out. You only pay taxes when you sell it. So she refinances it and she pulls out 300 or 350 in equity. That's 350 to play with, right? That she can go and buy a house, flip it, buy rental properties, whatever it is. But what I would tell her to do is to do the flip to freedom method, which is something we concocted a couple years back. So yeah, for every 3 properties, she got 350 to play with, 350. She could do a lot of real estate with that, right? By using it for down payments and getting financing and so on and so forth. So I would flip 2 properties, keep one as a rental. Flip 2, keep one as a rental. Flip 2, keep one as a rental. The flips are going to stack her money. That 350 is going to become 700 over the span of a year or 2, right? And the rental is her future money. So she's taking care of her future money to know that she don't have to rely on Social Security to retire. She's going to rely on her rentals, right? And that's exactly what we do.
And Estelle, I hope I'm saying your name. So what places like Newark that are not the best but are developing, it's good to invest there?
Great question. Great question. First of all, Newark is a great place to invest. I've done a lot of deals, made a lot of money in Newark. I even bought my dad, my brothers bought my dad a triplex in Newark when he wanted to retire. So he lives in one and rents the other 2, and it costs him $0 to live in. And that property has tripled in value over the last 10 years, right? Tripled, not doubled, but tripled in value. So I love investing in places like Newark. I love investing in places that are going through a lot of renovations, right? A lot of appreciation. When you have an area that has a lot of old homes that was traditionally a rough town, when you start seeing renovations going through, houses getting renovated, buildings getting renovated, it means a lot of money is getting poured into that area. So all you gotta do is you want to buy and hold in those areas, and you'll see those properties start to appreciate. And I'll give you a story. My first property I ever bought was in the Heights in Jersey City, right? When me and my wife got married, we bought our first place. It was a duplex in the Heights in Jersey City. I sold that place in 2012 for $327,000, right? I was checking on it last year, but last year is worth $1.5 million right now, right? $1.5 million. It appreciated because of all the renovations going on in the area. In the past, it was rough. It's not so rough anymore, right? You've got a lot of money that was invested in and turn these old properties over to make them livable. So you want to find the areas that other people are pouring money in. Just buy and hold in those areas, and you'll start seeing wealth being created just by owning the real estate in those areas.
That's good. We think of Newark, we think of New Jersey Drive and all. We think of
the old Newark, right? But it's changing, man. It's changing. I mean, I see these young millennials walking dogs at 7:00 in the morning now. It's not the same. It's not the same Newark that we grew up with.
What do you think about Baltimore? We just left there. Everything is for sale out there. What do you think about that as an investment?
So I don't know too much about Baltimore. I did buy a house before in Baltimore, but Baltimore is good, but you want to buy cheap, right? So you could actually buy properties from the city in Baltimore, and many cities do this, where you can buy properties for really cheap, because the if you buy cheap and you own it and you just hold it over time, I think it's going to appreciate. I think any place in the country, right? If you just buy and hold, you'll see that real estate's going to go up in value over time, whether it's Baltimore or whatever it is. But I would just be selective of the areas. There's some areas that are on an incline and some areas that are on a decline. So pick the neighborhoods in Baltimore that are either stable or on an incline. I think you'll be fine. But my real estate prices, just for your audience, over the last 100 years, every 10 years on average, real estate prices tend to double, right? So if you're thinking about getting into real estate and you're waiting for prices to drop, I'm going to tell you why wait. Now is always the best time to buy real estate. The best time is actually yesterday, but you can't go back in time, right? So you might as well get started now. And just by owning and holding real estate, you'll see that your wealth will appreciate over time. Yes, in the short term, prices drop and you have these little fluctuations. But if you hold it long term, you'll see in almost every market, real estate tends to go up over time because number one, it's an inflation fighter, and number two, right, they're not making more of it. So it's a scarce resource.
That's real, bro. I got a lot of questions, but I don't want to go too hard body. I feel like you're gonna invoice me. It deserves it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
You got one, sis?
No, go ahead.
So, all right, so I do want to know what was one of the craziest moments that just happened? It doesn't got to be like just in real estate specifically. We usually ask this, right? And I don't know if you had it already, but what's your mama I made it moment? What was the one moment that you look back and said, I'm here, baby. From the ramen, I'm here. What was that moment for you where you look back and had to actually enjoy the moment?
Yeah, actually, I think I just mentioned it. Actually, is when my dad told me he wanted to retire, and my brothers and I were like, well, how can we do this, right? Where he doesn't just eat through all of his savings over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And then my dad ended up having a daughter, right, in his later years. So now he has that resource that he needs to take care of, right? So we have a little sister many years later. So what we did is we set him up with a 3-unit building in Newark, New Jersey. We bought it for $350, right? And he lives in 1 unit, and the rents from the other 2 units cover the 100% of the mortgage, right? And he even makes money on a monthly basis. Then the property next door came available, 2 houses over, another 3-unit. And we structured a way to buy that with little money out of pocket, right? And locked in. And he makes like almost $4,000 a month on that 3-unit building. So we set up my dad's retirement where he didn't have to ever actually really come out of pocket, and his bills are covered on a monthly basis. And I remember after setting that up, me and my brother were in a room. I was like, you know what? We know our shit. We actually set this up pretty nicely, right? And we gave back to the people that have been, that got us to this point, that struggled, that worked hard. And I was like, we did it. We did.
Oh, I fucking love it, man. I love that. I know Pops is like, yeah. I told your ass get that book. I told your ass, right?
That's right.
So I want to look to the future, like 10 years from now, looking back, like what are some things you want your legacy to be known for?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I have a goal of helping our community. When I say our community, I mean people like us, buy $100 million in real estate, right? So whether that happens in this year, whether it happens in the next 5 years, I'm going to do it, right? Because I want to shorten that wealth gap, right? That's number one. The second thing is I'm transitioning out of some of my houses, right, to invest in more hospitality and multifamily projects. I want to invest in hotels in places I want to go. I just told you I love to travel, right?